This is Joy News Prime.
Tonight on Joy News Prime, Deputy Interior Minister assures President Mahama would not exercise his prerogative of mercy capriciously and asked for time and space for him to take a decision on whether or not to use it in the case of the Muntie 3. New Patriotic Party claims vindication in Electoral Commission report on controversial verification of its running mate, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, outside the designated exhibition center. Meanwhile, a survey conducted by the Ghana Center for Democratic Development found out majority of Ghanaians are unhappy with the way the country is being governed.
And in business, some bank executives parry concerns that upcoming elections could be having a negative toll on the economy.
And the West African Examinations Council has cancelled the results of nearly 600 candidates who sat for the 2016 WASSCE. My name is Israel Lai. We also have sports, entertainment, and Joy News Interactive in this 2-hour bulletin available across Europe on ABN television station. Deputy Interior Minister James Agaga says President Mahama is yet to take a decision on the exercise of his prerogative of mercy in the case of the 3 persons jailed by the Supreme Court for threatening members of the judiciary. The Chief of Staff only Monday handed over to the Council of State for advice petitions calling on the President to pardon the 3. There have been suggestions the President could be seriously considering the petition. But the Deputy Interior Minister says the President must be given the space and time to exercise judgment on the Muntie 3. Mr. Agaga, who is addressing the Government for the People Forum in the Upper West Regional Capital, WA, says President Mahama will consider justice where it is due.
I have taken pains to talk about the President's power to grant pardon, and there are prison officers here, they can testify to the President's exercise of that function. It has been consistent. President Kufuor exercised that power. President Rawlings exercised that power. And I am sure presidents who would come after His Excellency John Dramani Mahama would also exercise that power. In recent times, there have been calls for the President to grant certain individuals who fell foul of the law pardon. Let us allow the President the space to exercise what he thinks is right in the circumstances. Let us all trust in the judgment of His Excellency the President. He exercised the same power in relation to Adamu Dramani Sakande. If the President thinks that it is in the best interest of Ghanaians and all of us as a people to exercise that power again, he will exercise it. But I can assure you, before the President takes a step, he is going to do so within the confines of the law. He has never gone out of the way to exercise that power, and this is not the time he will do so. So I want to assure Ghanaians that yes, we can debate the issues, but let us be measured in the kinds of commentary that we run, simply because some Ghanaians have exercised their right to free expression, to sign on to a petition which is directed at the President. The fact that a petition has been signed and directed at the President to invoke his power does not mean he's going to exercise the power without giving due consideration to all the surrounding circumstances. So I don't want to take advantage of this forum to appeal to all of us to put our emotions aside and wait for the President to take a position on the matter. And I'm sure at the end of the day, we would all be happy.
The flag bearer of the Convention People's Party, Ivor Greenstreet, has also meanwhile waded into the debate about the jailing of the Muntie 3 and the severity of the sentence handed down to them. He agrees it would be unwise of the President to grant them pardon and actually suggests they should have been handed a harsher sentence. He's been speaking to my colleague Araba Kumsing.
Well, number one, if I had the opportunity, which unfortunately I am not on the bench, should I say, But I believe they should have been given a sentence which is longer than the 4 months they received. They should have been given 1 year sentence, 6 months suspended.
But there's the general assumption, again, that, you know, the 4 months was a bit too harsh, which is why a lot of the
My opinion, okay, my opinion, based on the confusion that both the NDC and the NPP have rendered this nation into, with all kinds of people saying all kinds of rubbish on all our radio stations nationwide, because they have people who go there just to divide us as a people and not help us concentrate on issues that affect us in our daily lives and provide us with hope, light, and opportunity. No, they don't do that. They bring us divisiveness and vindictiveness and rancor and insults.
So you don't think the president should pardon them?
Not under any circumstances. And I don't believe for one moment he'll do it. I think recently it has been referred to Shraj. So maybe he's under pressure from some of his rank and file and he's buying time. I can't believe.
What it is that the petition has been sent to him. He has presented them to the Council of State for them to review.
Yes. Well, you know, that buys a bit more time. Perhaps, you know, maybe he's hoping that people will forget about it, you know, and leave him in peace. But I can't believe that he's even for one moment thinking of making that politically shocking mistake and error to bring these characters out of incarceration. As I told you, I believe they should have been there longer. A 1 year sentence, 6 months suspended. That is the only aspect of mercy I can tell you that I'd accept. 6 months of the 1 year will be suspended. But they would have been in longer than 4 months. 6 months.
The CPP flag bearer, whose party in the last few weeks has been rocked by internal wrangling following the interdiction of its General Secretary and National Youth Organizer, insists there is no crisis within the party. Mr. Greenstreet, who has been campaigning in various parts of the country, says he is not distracted by the wrangling.
It's unfair to say that they were suspended. You know, they were not suspended. They were interdicted, should I say, or asked or set aside pending a disciplinary inquiry. Because in the party's constitution, if an individual is being referred to the disciplinary committee, they ask that person to step aside pending the matter being looked into. So number one, first point is that they were not suspended. Second point is that even I, as a general secretary, was suspended for 1 year as a sitting general secretary at a point in time. My good brother, the national organizer of NDC, Kofi Adams, was suspended for quite a lengthy period of time. And my own father, Nana Akufo-Addo, Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has ensured the suspension of his whole chairman and general secretary. And for suspensions and disciplinary issues in political parties, every day it occurs. And certainly I won't be distracted by it. And I know it will be resolved in an amicable way, and we all mean well to try and ensure that there's unity and progress within the party. After all, I mean, Araba, when is the last time you went to watch a soccer match? When you go watch a soccer match, the most interesting games, at a point in time, definitely you will see the referee hold a yellow card or even a red card at a point in time. Well, it's normal in politics. I don't think it is.
It's normal. But some members of your party are saying you and the national chairman are behind
No.
the internal wranglings.
No, it's not the case. No, it's not the case. No.
That's not the case.
No. We wish everybody well. We wish the party well. We want a unified force going forward.
Speaking of unity,
we have to be on the same, we have to all be on the same track.
Speaking of unity, you, at a debate organized by your party before the party's congress, which saw you elected as flag bearer, you said, and I quote, "I'm the best person to unite the party ahead of the polls for Ghana's founding party to usurp the dominance of the NPP and the NDC." Yes. What have you done to unite the party?
The party is united. Total rank and file. Unity doesn't represent one or two individuals at the national level. It is about the entirety of the rank and file. And that is why they gave me a resounding endorsement at that Congress. 64%. Unheard of in the entirety of the history of the Convention People's Party for any flag bearer to win with that resounding victory. And I can tell you, region to region, constituency to constituency, they are united behind the presidential candidate because not they just love Ivor Kobina Greenstreet, but they understand that this is an election year.
They're united behind the flag bearer. What about your national officers, your general secretary, your youth organizer? Are they united behind the flag bearer?
They're currently being disciplined. And so after that process is over, I mean, I wouldn't want to go into that too deeply because the matter is being looked into, and you know, and so once it's been looked into, I think it'd be unfair of me if I start passing comments on it. But
Now back on to our election stories. A wasted vote is a vote for John Mahama. This is the message of the flag bearer of the Progressive People's Party, Dr. Papa Kwesi Indom, to the constituents of the Botiano English Amanfum constituency. He was speaking at a rally to introduce the parliamentary candidate for the area, Reverend Fred Ni Ajetilabi.
Those people that you waste your vote when you go and give your vote to somebody, and that person goes into government and they don't do anything for you, and that they disappoint you, then that is the wasted vote. I also told her that you waste your vote. You waste your vote when you vote for somebody hoping that your children will be able to go to school. And then after you vote, you can't afford to send your children to school. That is a wasted vote. I also told them that you vote for someone so that they can help prevent diseases. But then after you vote for the person and you continue to have malaria, you continue to have cholera, you continue to have monococcal meningitis, that is a wasted vote. I also told them that when you vote for somebody with the hope that you will have continuous power, electricity, and you vote for them, and then you get doomsaw, that is a wasted vote. And then I added that you vote so that the young men and the young women, they will get jobs to do. But when you vote and there are no jobs, there is unemployment, there is no money in the pocket, that is the wasted vote. So go and tell them, especially all the people who voted for John Dramani Mahama, that they have gone to waste their votes. And the vote that they have wasted, that is the vote that has now sent us to the IMF, because John Mahama says he cannot manage our economy. So he has taken the economy and handed it over to the IMF. And they are telling us what to do. And some of what they are telling us to do is not in our best interests. You have wasted your vote on John Dramani Mahama. And look at you. Look at what is happening here. Look at amount.
Now, a survey conducted by political think tank Ghana Center for Democratic Development has found a majority of Ghanaians are unhappy with the way the country is being managed. 7 out of 10 of the 2,400 people surveyed were of the opinion the country was heading in the wrong direction, adding that it would require another party to reverse the tide. The respondents also mentioned governmental corruption, power outages, high prices of foodstuff, and access to medical care amongst the factors that would influence the way they vote in the December elections. Incidentally, it comes just a day after the governing National Democratic Congress downplayed the impact of the energy crisis on its electoral fortunes. Joy News' Joseph Akable has more on this report.
Data for the survey was collected from 2,400 adult citizens across the country between July 2 and 18, 2016. Participants were interviewed in a language of their choice. Addressing a news conference, Senior Research Officer at the CDD, Daniel Ama-Ato, said bad roads and power outages are among the key factors likely to influence voters.
Solid majorities of Ghanaians claim their own choices in the 2016 polls will be influenced a great deal or somewhat by a variety of policy and campaign issues ranging from bad roads, 76%, all the way to national embarrassments such as the World Cup scandal in the half, a little over half, compared to the others is on the lower side. But the key ones are the bad roads, government corruption, power outages, high prices of foodstuffs, ability to get medical care, use of abusive language, arrogance and disrespectful nature of politicians. So we can clearly see these are issues that they claim will have strong influence on the decisions they will make at the 2016 elections.
On government's performance in handling unemployment, electricity and the economy, the survey reveals majority of Ghanaians are of the view that government has failed, with 70% insisting the country is heading in the wrong direction.
And what we found was that 64% believe the government is performing very or fairly badly in managing or addressing their first most important policy priority. And about a third, however, rated government's performance as very or fairly well. We had 70% believing the country is in the wrong direction. That is, the country probably is in the wrong gear. Instead of moving forward, probably we are reversing. And then we also had about 24% thinking the country is headed in the right direction. And when we asked them whether they think government is solely responsible or government and other factors are responsible, we had almost half, 49%, attributing the direction of the country completely or mostly to government.
The center is expected to release another report before the December election. Joseph Akable reporting for Joy News, Accra.
Meanwhile, the ruling NDC's Director of Research, Dr. William Mahaji, says the survey report is not entirely true.
Out of 20-something million people, and then you say majority of Ghanaians say the country is heading in the wrong direction. What will make it a lot more conclusive is that is of the population sample, 70% they have indicated that Ghana is going in the wrong direction. But the other question is, what exactly is the wrong direction, or what would be the right direction? As a researcher, I would very much like to interrogate the report before I make any comment, because if they follow all the rigors of data collection and analysis has been done, well, what you typically say is that it's representative of the population, the sample that was interviewed. But to make a statement, a blanket statement that is 70% of Ghanaians, where I take issue. Then I'll also, as you're saying, I'd like to also look at the instrument that was used in collecting data and the specific questions that were put to the different groups or the different individuals who responded, and the ratios of who responded to each of these issues that were tabled for them to respond to. I will not condemn the report in any way, but I think that it requires a lot more interrogation. But my fair comment is that it cannot be 70% of Ghanaians. It's just 70% of those who responded to the issues. What we've done over the period, we just want to demonstrate that through the winning the elections cleanly. That would be a very strong statement of what we've done, and then we can talk about whether we've been going in the wrong direction or we are on the right track. But so far, I mean, all the things that we say we're going to do since 2012, a large number of them have been done. If you talk about unemployment, it's an issue, it's a global problem. So is the whole world going in the wrong direction? There are policies that are responding to these challenges, and the policies are being implemented.
Now, a committee set up to investigate an incident in which electoral officers aided Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia to verify his name outside the designated center has endorsed the sanctions meted out to the officials. According to the findings of the three-member committee, the conduct of the officers was a violation of the guidelines issued for the voter exhibition exercise and contrary to the Commission's policies. The NDC at the time had alleged that the New Patriotic Party running mate was verified in his home in Wale Wale in the northern region, but the committee did not establish that, except to say the verification happened outside the designated center. Now, the committee established a few facts that on the said date, Mr. Ambrose Yobe, exhibition officer, and Ms. Mumuni Latifa, verification officer, closed and vacated the exhibition center before the stipulated closing time of 6 p.m. That Dr. Mamadou Bawumia was facilitated by both officers to check his name in the voters register and got verified outside the exhibition center. The committee concluded that allowing a registered voter to go through the exhibition process outside the designated center was an irregularity and a breach of the rules. Accordingly, the two officers were replaced by the acting district electoral officer as soon as the issue was brought to the attention of the commission. The commission wishes to advise political leaders to familiarize themselves with electoral laws and regulations to enable them to insist on the right things being done at all times. And then the commission would also like to further encourage members of the public to continue to support the electoral process by promptly bringing any irregularities to its attention for speedy resolution. Now, the MPP meanwhile says he feels vindicated by this. The Wale Wale constituency MPP said the conclusions of the three-member committee, as contained in the statement which I just read, and which was set up by the Northern Regional Directors of the Electoral Commission to investigate allegations put out by the National Democratic Congress. The key false, this is what the statement from the MPP says, the key false accusations put out by the NDC included that Dr. Mamadou Bawumia, MPP running mate, was verified at his residence and that he also gave two EC officers a sum of 10,000 cedis. Now, our vindication in this case stems from the fact that the truth contained in our initial response to the spurious allegations put out by the NDC on July 30 have been endorsed by the EC's three-member committee in subsequent statements. The facts are stated in our response, and the only truths in the matter remain that Dr. Mamadou Bawumia was never verified in his home or family residence, as was put out falsely by the NDC. 2, Dr. Mamadou Bawumia never gave any official of the EC any amount for whatever purpose, and that the NDC put out that allegation, like others, purely to tarnish the image of Dr. Mamadou Bawumia, who has become a nightmare for the NDC and who they continue to plot against and seek to destroy. And that number 3, Dr. Mamadou Bawumia never invited an EC officer to verify him at his residence, for that Dr. Mamadou Bawumia was verified at a spot adjacent to the verification center because the officers on the day were in the process of moving the equipment and documents in an attempt to seek shelter due to the prevailing weather situation at the time. Right, time for business. Good evening to you, Emmanuel.
Good evening, Izzy.
What's coming up in business?
Well, in business, I don't know, it's become a common saying that with the approach of the election, some banks or some investors themselves might be holding back their cash because of apprehension. They don't know what is coming. Changing government taste.
So we're seeing that repeat itself again this year?
Yes, but it looks like bank executives are telling us that indications on the ground means nothing of the sort. People should actually be confident
they should feel
free to invest.
All right.
This is not the first election we are having, and definitely never going to be the last.
Okay, let's hear the details.
All right, thank you very much. Now, concerns that the upcoming elections could be having some negative impact on the economy might not be the case on the ground. That is, if engagements with some banking chiefs, investors, the Bank of Ghana, as well as scrutinizing financial records of banks are anything to go by. This report was put together by George Wiafi.
Some economists over the month have maintained that, due to the uncertainty in this election year, major investors are holding on to their cash. This development could be a reason that affected a recent local bond issue, as well as last week's Eurobond sale. Others also believe that the election overhang has impacted on deposits of commercial banks, as well as investments by offshore investors. There were even predictions the development will affect the ability of most banks to lend to business. But Joy Business's engagement with some officials at the Bank of Ghana shows, rather, local bonds issued by government have not been affected. Engagements with some bank treasurers also show that portfolio investors have not witnessed any significant decline. Managing Director of Standard Chartered Bank, Kweku Bedu Adjo says, deposits have not witnessed any reduction because of the upcoming elections.
If we compare the current environment, or if we say, if we compare the first half of 2016 to the first half of 2014 and 2015, I would say that somewhat the operating environment has improved. Are we out of the woods yet? No, there's still room for improvement. Interest rates are in the high 20s. Inflation, 18.4%, I believe. There's still, the government is pursuing fiscal consolidation under the International Monetary Fund Enhanced Structural Adjustment Program. So when you put all those things into consideration, then we haven't quite returned to benign operating environment where you see interest rates drop to more affordable levels. You see economic growth go north of 5% again, and then you can be sure that we are getting back to benign economic conditions. So until we see those signs, I think our posture remains one of caution whilst we pursue restructuring and recovery.
A careful look at the half-year results of most listed banks also revealed deposit mobilization and even lending have not witnessed any significant reduction. Managing Director of HFC, Robert Lehant, on his part says the upcoming election has not in any way affected their expansion plans and investments. Well, for some, it might be early days yet to conclude whether or not the uncertainty surrounding the election could indeed affect the economy, or could the current challenge have more to do with management of the economy rather than just the elections.
Welcome back to Joy News Prime. The West African Examinations Council says at least 598 candidates who sat in the 2016 West African Senior Secondary Certificate Examination have had the entire results cancelled. A copy of a provisional report signed by the Council's Public Relations Officer Agnes Teye Kujo said out of the 274,262 candidates, 274,262 candidates who took the examination, 2,184 candidates had issues with their results.
Well, the Council is investigating various cases of mass cheating. So we are scrutinizing the scripts of these candidates and we will take action as appropriate. There are 85 schools. I wouldn't like to mention one and leave out the other, but they are from various regions in the country. We have some coming from Accra, we have some coming from Ashanti region, we have some coming from the Volta region, and they cut across. These 1,576 candidates who have had their subject results cancelled mainly brought in foreign materials to the examination hall. Some came to the examination hall with prepared notes, and other people also came in with materials that they had written on handkerchiefs, on pamphlets, and other things like that. Now, with the 598 whose entire results have been cancelled, these were mainly for bringing in mobile phones to the examination hall. 2 years ago, we revised our rules, and any candidate who brings in a mobile phone to the examination hall will have his or her entire results cancelled. That is why we have cancelled the results of these 598 candidates. So these candidates were engaged in impersonation cases. So you had somebody trying to write the examination for them. So as our rule states, when you are caught in an impersonation case, your entire results will be cancelled and you are barred for 2 years.
Now, a group of tertiary graduates in the Upper East region is alleging fraud in a recent recruitment of teachers conducted by the Ghana Education Service. According to the graduates, the exercise appears to be a ploy used by GES to unfairly hire their own cronies into the system without going through the established procedure. They explain out of 495 of them from the 3 regions in the north who were shortlisted and wrote the aptitude exam, only 15 of them were selected and posted, with several others whose names were published as successful not having index numbers besides their names. An indication, they say, they may have been smuggled into the system. Upper East correspondent Albert Sore has more.
The Ghana Education Service recently announced that qualified persons should apply to be recruited as mathematics, science, English language, and geography teachers. Following the announcement, some young tertiary graduates applied for the jobs, and subsequently there was a short list of 495 persons from the 3 regions of the north who wrote an aptitude exam at Tamale to determine the final group of persons qualified for the jobs. According to the graduates, due process was not followed when it was time to announce those who qualified. Their secretary, Robert Adabogo, addressed a press conference at Bolgatanga.
All candidates were given unique codes, depending on the region you are coming from. So if you are from the Upper East region, you have a code of 09 before your index number will follow. If you are from the Northern region, you have a code of 08 before your index number will follow. If you are from the Upper West region, you have 10 before your index number will follow. Asante region had 5, Brona-Ahafo had 6. But we realized that when you go online, hardly will you find 09
or
08 or 10.
Or 10. Yes.
And we don't know. So we are not accusing anybody here, but we believe that we have an issue. We have a case. So if it is indeed that the exams we wrote didn't get to them for assessment, they should let us know, and they should revisit that. If it is also that we also failed, which we don't even think is possible, because 96.9% of us cannot fail. And the funny thing is, all our colleagues who took the exam at other centers, notably Ashanti, BA, Greater Accra, almost all of them were posted.
Other graduates equally suspect some underhand dealings because they claim the GES replaced their names with the names of persons who either did not apply for the jobs or did not write the aptitude test.
It was clearly stated that if you have applied for maybe at a place where there's no vacancy, you can be posted to any of the 10 regions in the country. Assuming you are a science student and you applied and you wrote the exams in Tamale, you can be posted to Greater Accra. Okay. And the issue we are having here is that those who wrote the exams at the Tamale, none of us had been posted to the southern sector. And
so none of you have been posted at all?
At all. And it's like majority of us, 96.6, has not been posted. The final list has come. So it means it's over. And that is why we are complaining. And it means the 3% so far has been posted. And it means that almost all the 3 non-regions, those that they posted, are all sadness. And even the names, those people are not having index numbers. It means that there's a fallacy going on.
Some of them do have.
And there are also another measures we can go through peacefully so that this issue will be resolved.
Joy News checks on the Ghana Education Service website, www.gespostings.net, revealed several names on the list of selected applicants without index numbers posted to teach in the 3 regions of the north. A few of such names were also among those posted to teach in the Volta and Eastern regions. The aggrieved job applicants say they paid an amount of 62 Ghana cedis as fees for the aptitude exam and therefore deserve some explanations from the Ghana Education Service even if they did not pass the aptitude exam. For Joy News, Albert Sore, reporting from Bolgatanga.
Academic activities in Ghana's 38 colleges of education are likely to grind to a halt in September this year, following a threat by the Colleges of Education Tutors Association of Ghana to strike over government's delay in migrating them onto the required tertiary tutor status. Prince Obeng Hemang, who is secretary of the association, joins me to explain the issues they're having. Now, good evening to you, Mr. Obeng Hemang.
Good evening, Israel.
Yes. What is the status of the processes to migrate your members?
Please, the question again, please.
What is the status of the processes to migrate your members? As in, where are you in the process of migrating your members?
Thank you very much. For now, I must say that we have done all that we are supposed to do. That is to say that in specific terms, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission has done the, that is to say where we are supposed to be. They have designed the placement and placed us where we are supposed to be placed. They have since finished and forwarded the document to the Finance Ministry since May 10th. What remains to be done is the implementation. That has not been done for now, and that is where we cannot explain, and it places a lot of hardship on our people, because as it is now, we find ourselves in a limbo, not being full members of the GES, and at the same time not being full members of the NCT, that's the National Council for Tertiary Education.
Right. I can imagine that based on this new placement you're talking about, you're going to be receiving higher salaries. Is that the case?
Israel is not so much about salary, but it's about placing us there. That's why we are saying, seek ye the kingdom of migration first. If it's about the salary, significantly, it won't be anything different from what we are receiving now, or some kind of slight adjustment. But we are entitled to certain things that some other people within the tertiary dispensation are enjoying. But by virtue of the fact that we still remain in the GES, we are denied this. That's why we say, look, the Act 847 says that when we are tutors, place us here and then give us whatever it is that people who are also in the same category also benefit. That's why we are asking for this.
Okay,
and
now,
having to endure this since 2012, we think that enough is enough.
All right. Have you communicated your intent to the Ministry of Education, and what has been the response?
That's another thing that makes even our action more justifiable, because there is nobody, there's no stakeholder within this whole thing that we have not appealed to. When you go to the National Labour Commission, their offices, for instance, it's more or less that place is our family house, because every now and then we are there. We indeed petitioned the National Labour Commission a few months back, not even up to a month. The behavior of our employers and the fact that we were not happy. At arbitration, which the National Labour, the National Fair Wages and Salaries Commission and all people around, they indeed promised to finish the migration and forward it. And if you look on the letter, that is the press statement issued, we have carefully attached a copy of, that is a letter signed by Mr. Smith Graham, Chief Executive Officer of Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, indicating that indeed they have since finished work and then submitted the thing to the Finance Ministry, which they copied the Education Minister.
All right,
so we
Prince,
have copied, everybody is aware of our situation.
Okay.
And indeed, for the records, we have sent them fresh notice that is indicating our intention to embark on this action.
All right. Well noted, Prince. Would have to end the interview here, but I'm sure your concerns have been heard by all. Prince Obeng Hemang is the Secretary of the Association of Colleges of Education Tutors, Association of Ghana. In other news, the Ministry of Water Resources, Works and Housing says Ghana is making steady progress towards attaining its goal of universal water coverage by 2025. This achievement, among several others in the works and housing sector, was announced during the ministry's first Meet the Press session this year. Jennifer Kwamwa covered the event and now reports.
According to the Deputy Water Resources, Works and Housing Minister Samson Ahi, government's efforts to improve Ghana's urban water coverage has expanded access from 76% to 78% across the country. He outlined the projects undertaken which resulted in this feat.
Water supply to Greater Accra metropolitan area, which used to have challenges, has now been substantially addressed. We are aware of the problems in the distribution network, and consequently, government has secured a grant of $48.1 million from the World Bank to address the bottlenecks. The Urban Water Supply Master Plan is being updated. This will guide the distribution infrastructure improvement works. The first phase of the project will improve the water supply service in Tessinungwa, Glefe, Mamponsi, Choko, and Mamumo.
Mr. Ahi addressed some concerns from rural dwellers at Apesika in the Kintampo South District who prefer pipe-borne water to the borehole provided them.
The standard is that every 300 people must be provided with one borehole, and every community which is above 2,000 and above must be given small town water system. So there are criteria. It's not, so if you have 600 population, it is expected that they will be given 2 boreholes. Okay. Because the idea is that every 300 communities should have access to one borehole. Okay. So that's what we do. We don't just send the system there. We look at the population, we look at the numbers before we do it. So if such communities are above 2,000 and above, then when there is a facility, they will be considered.
Mr. He also pointed out achievements in the works and housing sectors, which included the imminent completion of the first phase of the OAS and Boteman affordable housing projects, as well as the completion of the first Navy barracks in the country.
Right, the entertainment news is also brought to you by Ms. G.
Hello, Israel.
Hi.
Okay, so do you remember one of your Christmas tunes from back in the day? Not a carol and not one that is foreign, but something that is local, and it reminded you that either Christmas was approaching, or let me just give you a clue. You needed to go to
Bronyo, Bronyo, Bronyo.
Afia to you, not that one.
Oh.
Okay, this one talks about 24th. Which one is that?
Kichri.
Kwame Appiah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Obi Ngase 24th. Okay, so Ketcho Kwame Appiah is in the news. Now he has a track. He released that track last year. It's called Bronya Enye Dane Dumso. Dumso Bronya.
Yeah, that was last year.
That was last year.
Yeah.
And a lot of people had alluded that he did that song because he was sympathetic with the NPP.
Yeah.
And so he was, attacking the NDC because Dumso is a long, long thing. And then again, he attacks Ola Michael of FIPAG, who claims that he is a member of the NDC. So he begins to, look like there's something fishy going on.
Okay.
But Ketcho Kwame Appiah has been angry with almost everybody. I don't know why. Here's Ketcho Kwame Appiah.
I just sang that song to let people, let me say, know what is going on. I'm a Ghanaian. I live in Ghana. So if something is going on and I'm a musician, I have to bring it out because everybody was saying Dumso, Dumso, Dumso. I just made fun of it.
No, I hear you sang that song because you sympathize with the MPP.
No, it's not true.
You don't sympathize with the MPP?
No. Because I was also experiencing it. Even still now, I'm experiencing it. So if I say, you can bear me witness. Yeah.
But in recent times, we've heard you come, attacking Ola Michaels because of the NDC. So everybody began to think that it is true that you belong to the MPP.
No. I wasn't attacking Ola. But it was like, Ola is Film Producers Association, PRO, FIPAG. So I was just giving him an advice to stop. Okay, whenever you're doing something with NDC, you mention your name. I'm Ola Michael, PRO, blah 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 blah. That was the reason why I told him to shut up. You can say I'm Ola Michael. Don't bring FIPAG. It's like all the FIPAG members and the NDC, because I have so many movies out there. So if you bring politics into that aspect, you're just worrying us, because they are not buying movies. They don't buy movies nowadays, and you want to add politics into it. Trust me, you're killing the industry.
You think that politics kills the industry?
Yes.
You seem to be angry with a lot of things in the industry and a lot of people. First it was Musica, secondly it was the Music Awards, now Ola Michaels. Why? What's wrong? You look like, it seems like you're angry with a lot of people.
I have suffered in the industry before. My first album came out in 1992. Think of it, like 24 years now. So if you are doing something that will not help the industry, I will allow you to do it because you just came in.
Till then, have a good night.
This is Joy News Prime.